Welcome to Anything New. My name is Pete, and as always, I'm here with Matt
What's up?
and Opie.
Good evening.
Anything New is a podcast where we talk about anything new we've been using, perusing, or consuming. Episode 13, we got a ton of stuff to talk about. A bunch of pickups that Matt and Opie got over the past week.
Too
Pick
many.
We're,
ups.
we're going to talk a little bit about Borat 2, but first, something we're all really hyped about is Mandalorian.
Oh man.
Guys, give me some impressions.
Let me put it this way. I watched season 1 all at once because I didn't activate my free Disney Plus until after the whole thing had come out already. And it wasn't like I was waiting. So I watched the whole thing all at once and thought it was really good. Kind of thought that some of the episodes may have been a little bit slow had I watched it week to week, so I was glad that I watched it all at once. And I thought maybe I'll watch it all at once this season as well. But then I saw, you guys had already watched it. We were going to talk about it this week, so I thought I need to at least watch episode 1 of this, this new season, the second season.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was finished watching it, actually, I think even before I was finished watching it, I was like, no, I'm going to watch this week to week. I can't wait. I can't wait,
Right.
8 weeks to watch the whole thing. It was. I mean, that's how much I was impressed with it. It was really good. I loved it.
Are we talking? Are we spoiling?
No, let's try not to spoil because it only came out like 2 days ago.
I think,
Oh,
I think
Or
we should
3
talk.
days ago.
I think we should talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
Two to one vote.
Okay.
Overridden.
All right. Well,
But we
then
don't get into specific. Well, I mean, a lot of it is like I know that Opie wanted to talk about was what happened at the end.
okay,
Right.
that's fine. Well, then let me say this: if you are listening to this
Yes.
in the audio podcast, check the description for the timestamp of the next thing we talk about, so you can skip past this because we are going to talk some
we're gonna-
spoilers.
yeah. We're going to give you a chance right now to jump ahead to the next segment if you don't want to be spoiled. If you've not seen it yet,
Yeah,
if you're live, just pause this. If you're watching
maybe
this, on
maybe
YouTube
mute it. Or
or
something.
maybe mute it,
Yeah.
and then we'll let you know. But so, guys, my first impression, of course, like I love the first season. Watched it every week that it came out, every episode, and at first I was kind of, it kind of felt like a little bit of last season. Like the Mandalorian comes in, he gets himself in a pickle, and then he kind of gets, he goes all badass and gets himself out of it, and then he ends up having to go back to of all places, you have to go back to Tatooine. And like
Right.
Tatooine, I guess, is the center of the known universe or the Star Wars universe. And I was like, man, we're going back to Tatooine. Can we not just like these are my first thoughts. They were like, I've seen Tatooine. I've been to Tatooine. I've lived it, been there, done that. So I was like, why are we going back to Tatooine? Well, I mean, it's weird, it kind of felt a little forced to me. Like I didn't understand where they were going to the end of it, and I'm hoping they didn't jump the shark with the first episode. Like I knew that a certain actor from was going to be in this season that plays a certain character that relates to a certain character that all the fans love. So I knew that actor was going to be in this season. Now, I don't know if I talked to Matt about this or not, but I thought it may have been like a flashback. The Mandalorian.
That's what I thought. That's how I thought it was
thought-
going to play out.
Yeah, I thought that actor was announced to be on this season, and he was going to be in a flashback. And I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it. Pretty much the actor we're talking about is the actor who plays Jango Fett in episode 2, and we all know Jango Fett took on a clone son, which ended up being Boba Fett. And Boba Fett is notorious for wearing Mandalorian armor, and he ended up dying on what planet?
Tatooine. Yeah.
Tatooine.
In the Sarlacc pit. So
And they even mentioned Sarlacc pit
they did.
in this.
They
and-
did. Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, just like the episode, they go back and I tell you one thing, guys, and
Hold
I
on.
sent something to what?
Was Boba Fett as depicted in Attack of the Clones? Was he a clone?
Yes.
I thought he was just
took
like
on
Jango Fett's
No.
like natural son.
he no. He
Maybe I
took
haven't.
on
Maybe I just haven't seen it in a really long time.
Yeah. If you watch episode 2, they say specifically that he takes on a clone.
Okay.
It's like he's telling Obi-Wan Kenobi, the cloners, they're telling Obi-Wan Kenobi who the clone. It might have been, I don't know. Someone was talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi about it, and they said he takes on a clone for his son. The rest of them are genetically enhanced, and his son wasn't genetically enhanced. So Boba Fett wasn't genetically.
I think I remember that now. It's been so long since I saw episode 2.
So Jango Fett's son Boba Fett is an exact replica of him because he's a clone. So therefore, the adult actor would then be perfect to play.
Right.
Would be the one who would play that. And if you watched any of the Clone Wars series, the animated series, they're all the same basic clones. But anyway, long story short, and I told this to Matt, even this one episode has influenced like the action figure market, because they go back and team up with Tusken Raiders, which I was, after I'd watched the episode and then kind of read some stuff about it, that was kind of cool to see, because Tusken Raiders have always got like a bad rap.
Yep.
A little bit. They're just kind of the rabble. They're like the seedy underbelly of Tatooine.
Desert thugs.
Nobody really knows a lot about them. They snipe you. They take pot shots at you. They steal stuff, or whatever. But you kind of see.
I was waiting for them to do that, and they finally did it in that episode. I was like, they gotta do that at some point.
Yeah, but they're a tribal people. But I kind of thought it was kind of cheesy that the Mandalorian knew how to speak Tusken Raider, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, but Han can speak Chewie, so Wookiee.
So when he goes back to Tatooine and he goes to that one little town and he meets up with the new sheriff who's obviously wearing Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah, that was cool. The way he walked in, he was walking into a saloon like a sheriff in an old Western movie, He kind of had that like little hip swing.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool. Now I will tell you this, Mando. I feel for Mando because it was like watching this episode was like me playing an RPG game. Like I have my main story quest. Like I gotta get the child back to his thing.
Right.
Then he's like, "Oh, can you help me do this?" Well, I can do that if you help me do this.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So then I got to spend a whole episode doing a side quest. That's pretty much what he was on. He was on a side quest. It was an
episode of a side quest to unlock a new character. So
that's what I thought of whenever I was watching. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah. So basically, they got to contract Mando out to go kill a big worm. Well, actually, he went to look for the so-called Mandalorian that's on that planet, on Tatooine, and then helped out this town by killing a monster with the Tusken Raiders.
Now, I thought Mando, at the end of the episode, he should have recognized that the sheriff was using the armor for good of saving these people and keeping them safe, and he should have been like, you know what? You should wear this armor. Even though you're not a Mandalorian, you're doing good work here,
right,
Sheriff? You should keep it. No, he was like, okay, see ya.
Yeah. So what we were talking about, kind of jumping the shark, we're talking about Boba Fett is at the end, pretty much as they defeated the monster and they're kind of flying away off in the sunset. It kind of pans out and there's this lone traveler hooded figure looking over. And he turns around to walk away, and it's the actor that plays Jango Fett. It's actually Boba Fett. Nobody ever says it's Boba Fett, but that is who it is. And I sent you guys on Instagram. Somebody had posted the actual comic reference. Did you guys read that on your Instagram?
I did, but
where the comic where Boba Fett actually comes back, and they we thought you were dead. Where and if you don't know Star Wars, in one of the movies, this character we're talking about, Boba Fett, he dies in Return of the Jedi. He falls into this big mouth of this monster called the Sarlacc Pit on Tatooine, and he's dead.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and the lore keeps him dead. George Lucas never brought him back at all when George Lucas had the Star Wars license, but the fans did. The fans brought him back. And the fans, if you watched episode 1, brought Darth Maul back in either fan fiction or novels or comics. But did you guys notice that there's a couple little Easter eggs that I noticed in this episode?
Give them to me.
Did you know that the Boba Fett armor that was in that was the rocket firing Boba Fett armor of the Kenner Star Wars one, the way that the missile was? You notice the difference. The missile in the Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett was totally different. That's a rocket firing Boba Fett, and he fires his rocket multiple times.
So he didn't have that rocket in the other.
He
ones?
never fired his rocket in
the original movies. Yeah.
He never fired his rocket. So,
and I can see why, because it kind of looks stupid.
Yeah,
that's kind of. He leans over if he's flying, maybe. But
in Star Wars collecting figure lore, the rocket firing Boba Fett was a Boba Fett action figure in 1977 that was never released because it fired a little missile out of his backpack, just like in the show, and it was considered a choking hazard. So it's, they float around Cincinnati all the time, James, because that's where Kenner was, and that's where they come from. People have taken home the prototypes, and that's the most expensive Star Wars figure you could probably find if it's real. And another Easter egg is, what is the guy's name? The sheriff's name? Dutch. It's something.
Oh,
anyway,
you mean the character?
Dude from.
Well, yeah. So I'm glad you said that. The actor is Timothy Oliphant, who was Raylan Givens in. He was in friggin' Justified that I just finished watching on the treadmill over there. I know he played a marshal in this too. I thought that was great.
Right.
And Ed Wood, he was a sheriff.
His speeder bike is one of the engines from Anakin's original pod racer.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Get out. Yeah. Get out.
Did you pick
up? Are you
on
serious?
that?
I noticed it.
I didn't pick up on that.
I noticed it, but I didn't know if it was just supposed to look like it or if it was actually supposed to be that part from that pod racer.
It was eerily close.
I agree.
And Anakin's pod races were on Tatooine, so I agree. I picked up on that too as well. But it was a pretty good episode, all in all, from front to back.
Dude, I thought it was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah. It was even the the funny part when they go out there and they're what's the big animal's name with the horns that they
the bantha.
What? Banthas, yeah. So they take a bantha out there as like to sacrifice it to get it to come out, and then that Tusken Raider kind of leads it out there, and he's sitting there, and then it comes out and eats him instead.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I just hope that I just think they did a good job. The only, and when they were going out there and there was another big monster, I'm just glad they're not throwing the child out there just to take over the show. I'm glad it's really focused on kind of the relationship between both of them, and Mando's got the biggest part in it, because I think that would be kind of a cop out if you focus, because everyone loves that child character, and I was afraid he was going to come out and use the Force again to save Mando like they did in the first season. So
because at one part when Bleep started hitting the fan, little baby Yoda just hit the little thing on his little egg, and he's like,
that was awesome.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll hit back on future episodes as we watch them, because that's like my number one show right now. I got to watch each weekend.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. You guys want to skip over to Borat 2?
Yeah.
Matt, you were kind of high praise on this.
I thought it was hilarious. I watched excuse me. Sorry, cough button. So I rewatched the first one because I actually didn't remember ever seeing the first one. But then after I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing all that. So, but I'm glad that I did, because then I watched the second one. I think immediately, I think I watched them back to back. I actually thought the second one was a lot funnier. But I was actually also surprised how he was able to still get away with everything, because everybody knows, not everybody, I guess, but like Borat is a thing now. The first time around in 2006, nobody knew anything was going on. And now everybody's heard, or a lot of people have heard of Borat. So what was funny is, because of that, and they actually address it in the movie, because people know Borat now, Sacha Baron Cohen, dressed as Borat, had to dress as other characters. So he had to do his impersonation of Borat, doing an impersonation of like somebody from the South or something like that.
I never really thought of that, but yeah, you're right.
It was just
Well, What were some of the funny gags that he, other than the? I mean, we all kind of heard about the Giuliani thing. What was some of the other stuff?
There was, excuse me, the whole the Opie, the part that you watched up to, because I know you haven't finished it, but the part where he was with his daughter at a what do you the
It's a ball for like
debutantes, you know, like
debutantes,
that kind of thing.
like a classy, like a
Yeah,
you go and learn to dance and do the waltz and manners and all that stuff.
Okay.
That part where he was dressed okay and his daughter Tutar was dressed in a nice dress, and they started doing their own their dance. And they're like, we're gonna do one of our traditional dances from our country, and she acted like they had rigged up something to where it looked like she was starting her feminine time during the dance, wearing a white dress, and everybody was just staring on in horror. I thought it was really gross, and I was eating dinner while I was watching this, so I had to stop for a minute. But it was hilarious.
So there was one before that, Matt, and I don't know if he had planned this to go all the way through this sequence, but they end up in a bakery to buy a cake for someone, and then his daughter wanted a cupcake or wanted some sweets, but he keeps telling the story that of course they're from another country and women don't get any privileges at all, and he's like, it's illegal for you to have sweets, and she begs him and she begs him. He goes, well, okay, he goes, this will be our secret, but we can't do it here, not where the authorities can see. So they go out like around the building behind the dumpster, and he's feeding her this birthday cake or this little cupcake, but the cupcake's like a baby shower, so it's got a little baby on top, like one of those plastic baby rings. So if something happens, she's eating it, and he's behind the dumpster, and she swallows the little baby toy that's on top of it. So they end up in the clinic, and she's like telling the doctor that she wants to get the baby out of her belly, and because her daddy put it there.
Yeah.
And they had to do it, and he put it there behind the dumpster.
Yeah. And but the place they went to was like, one of the, very Christian, not an abortion clinic, but like a very Christian, like,
pro-life
maternity type place that, helps young girls and that kind of stuff. And that was just, it was just a lot of stuff like that. It was a lot of, what, actually, they didn't even really hit the COVID stuff until later on in the movie, which I was sort of surprised about. Because I knew there was some jokes about COVID, and he's like, I saw a clip where he was walking. Oh, you haven't got there yet, but there's a, but there's a clip. It's in the trailers and stuff where he's walking through town. He's like, "Where is everybody?" And he finds out about. He's like, "You mean there's a virus?" And that's when he goes to live with a couple of. I think it was in Texas. A couple of good old boys, and he stays with them. And I think in an interview he said he lived. Actually, yeah, in an interview with Stephen Colbert, he said he lived with them for like 5 days. And he had to stay in character the whole time. And every night, when he would go to bed, like in his suitcase, there was a little hidden compartment where he had his laptop and his phone and stuff, because he's like, I still had to produce the movie, and I still had to plan for what was going to happen the next day. So I would have to secretly open my suitcase and get out all my stuff and do my work. And he said there was one time they knocked on the door, and I had to throw everything under the covers, and I'll be right there, and that kind of thing. And he said it was just crazy.
How does he keep people in the dark but have a camera crew around?
Well, he comes at it from the perspective of we're doing a documentary for my country about life in America, or things that kind of thing. That's how the first one was too. So that's how he gets away with that, because he even mentioned that to these guys that he was staying with, the camera crew, because they're supposed to be a camera crew, they would leave.
Yeah.
In the evening. So it was just Sacha Baron Cohen as Borat and these two guys there, like at nighttime. Without his actual film crew there. And that's when he was trying to secretly do everything. And the big difference of this one is Tutar, his daughter. So it's she's played by an actress named Maria Bakalova. She's 24 years old, but she played his 15-year-old daughter. She was born in Bulgaria. She's from Bulgaria, and she was amazing. Like, she was every bit as on point, responding, reacting to the situations, staying in character, improvising, all this stuff. She was every bit as good at it as Sacha Baron Cohen was in his character. So she was fantastic. She deserves some kind of Oscar for like best comedic performance or whatever, I think. She was great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is a big political aspect in it, though, James.
Okay.
Yeah, she's supposed to be coming.
Not as much.
Well,
That's only the
what's
end.
point? What is Tutar coming to the United States for?
Well, yeah, the plot of the point of her coming is to give her to Mike Pence as a way to make peace, because the crux of the movie is Kazakhstan is really upset with America for the first Borat movie. So the plot is they're actually going to give Mike Pence like their prize monkey. But Tutar wants to go. She sneaks away in the pen that the monkey's in and eats him. So they said, okay, well, we'll give you to Mike Pence as a sort of like a peace offering. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But when they can't get to Pence, that's when they decide to do Rudy Giuliani instead, and that's where the climax. That's where that whole big political thing comes from.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's cringe comedy is not my. I don't love it.
I know.
But it was kind of funny. It was funny in some places. I'm laughing now, but it's cringe comedy. Sometimes I just have to turn it off.
I have trouble with like Impractical Jokers. That's the name of it, right?
Yeah, well, even Jackass, I had trouble with when I didn't care for them hurting each other, but sometimes when they would do things out in public around.
Yeah. When people pull pranks on other unsuspecting people, I feel like real awkward watching it. I don't know why, and I would just like have anxiety. I'm just like, oh no, like don't do that. Oh, God.
I agree with you to a point, because I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. I wouldn't want to be in this movie looking like a jerk. But they have to sign waivers. Everybody has to sign a waiver to be in the movie, so they know what they're. Maybe not at the time, but afterwards they know what they're signing up for. So it's up to them at that point. But I just thought it was funny. There was more of a political aspect to it than the first one, but it's not. The big thing about everybody's heard about this one was the Rudy Giuliani stuff at the end. The political slant of it doesn't. It's not as heavy throughout the course of the movie as you might think. It's not as much. Sure, the point is to give her to Pence or Rudy Giuliani or somebody but it's not like that's the reason why they're there. But that's not. They don't like harp on it just over and over and over. They mention it, because that's the reason they go to the debutante ball, so that she can learn how to be more elegant, that kind of stuff. So it's the reason that they do these things, but they don't like continually just beat a dead horse. That's just the motive. That's just what motivates them. But.
Gotcha.
But the very situations, aren't all political,
Yeah. So you have Borat 2. Check it out. It's on. What's it on Netflix right now?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's an Amazon original. That's where it is Amazon. It's their own thing.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was another show you wanted to talk about real quick. A movie, and this is funny that you brought this up, because I skimmed past this probably just like 2 or 3 weeks ago and watched the trailer on Netflix. Ended up not watching it, but then when you started talking about it, it reminded me of me almost watching it. So then I just went back on Wikipedia and read a little synopsis, and I have to watch this movie now. And it's Nightcrawler, 2014. You watched it and you love it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, is because I had never seen it. Even though it's a 6-year-old movie, it's new to me. It's new that I watched this week. I had always wanted to watch it when it first came out. So stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Riz Ahmed, Rene Russo is great in it. And it's basically about Jake Gyllenhaal. Sort of, kind of. He's not very likable in this movie. He's kind of a smarmy, sort of a con man. And he's always looking to, he's looking for work, but he's always looking for work like an easy way to make money. He doesn't really want to just have a job. And he falls into the quote unquote profession of, I don't remember. It's not paparazzi. but like news report or video news reporting, like being the guy first on the
freelance
crash
work?
scene with a video camera recording everything.
Like freelance.
Yeah, like freelance video, video news stuff, and
Right.
he listens to a police scanner, finds out where the action is, rushes to the crime scene or the scene of an accident with his camcorder, records all the footage, then sells it to a news station, right?
Sure.
And
sure.
he sort of falls into that kind of sort of by chance, but finds out that he really likes it. He's really good at it. And it's one of those things where he starts off, with this dinky little camcorder, doesn't really know what he's doing. He's usually, late to the scene, but he gets one big break selling it to a news station. They really like what he does, so he's able to get better equipment. He hires another guy. They're able to get to situations faster and things like that. But the twist is, and well, it's not a twist because it's not a spoiler because this is just what the movie is. But he starts to sort of kind of tamper with crime scenes or scenes of an accident in order to make it juicier, make it better. And
Hashtag fake news.
yeah, well, it starts like with he shows up at the scene of a crash before the cops get there. So he drags the body just to a different spot just to make it look more dramatic, right? So that's kind of like one of the earliest things that he does, but then it just sort of compounds from there. And so, I think the tagline is something about, when you stop making the news and start becoming it, or something like that. So he starts to, he starts to withhold evidence because it makes for a better story, and he changes how things look. So he gets a little bit darker and deeper into it, and I just thought all the performances were really good. I thought the story was really good. I was just really into it, and he's just he's such a good actor. Like, I'll watch anything
He
he's
is a
in,
good actor.
because he was, Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh, he's so dreamy, and he's always, of course, he was like the bad guy in this newest Spider-Man movie, but he was still like charming in a way. Like in this movie, he's just not likable at all. He's not a good guy.
Yeah.
And he's sort of a creep. He seems like he's a little bit, just a tiny little bit, like, on the spectrum. He seems like he's the slightest little bit, like, socially awkward, just a little. But I think that sort of helps the character, because the character is kind of cold. It doesn't have a lot of empathy and compassion and that kind of thing. So, it was just a great movie. I just wanted to mention it for a couple minutes,
Sure.
because for anybody who hasn't seen it, I watched it on Netflix. If you're looking for just a really good, it's like an hour and 50 minutes. It's all, so it's not even 2 hours. If you're looking for just a really interesting movie, check this one out. It's really good.
Yeah, it's some little tidbits on Nightcrawler. It had an $8.5 million budget, and it grossed $50 million. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. Lots of praise, and was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah,
Whoa.
so there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely something worth checking out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just really good. Like, just his descent from being just this kind of guy who tries to capture footage all the way down to, I'm actually maybe kind of causing some of this just for the sake
Right.
of news,
Gotcha. Well, cool. Opie, you got a YouTube show, or I guess it's like a little series. A guy's kind of doing his own pickups,
Yeah.
hunting with Tripler.
Yeah, I've been known to pick up, I think, a time or two. And if you've listened to this podcast before, I've mentioned several YouTubers that I watch that are kind of in the junk collecting, game collecting, action figure, toy collecting realm, stuff that I like to junk my house up with, and
Collectible.
Yeah,
Not
one of
junk.
the first guys I told people about was Tendo, and then there was also another guy that kind of in my algorithm I was watching called Retro Rick, and I watch Retro Rick, and he's more of 90s game collector. And then there's he kind of mentioned this guy in one of his episodes, and I went over to check his channel out and just started watching his channel. It's the name of the channel is Hunting with Tripler, and his actual name's Matt, but they call him Tripler for some reason. But He's a Midwest guy from Iowa, and I think he currently lives in Southern California, but he travels back to Iowa, and basically he's kind of like a CJR, which is an Instagram guy in Canada. He's a garage seller. He's a yard seller. He's a Goodwill guy, and he's just a straight reseller. Now he's not a collector, so to speak. I started watching Nintendo and Retro Rick more for their game content when I was picking up games. But this guy picks up a little bit of everything. And the reason I kind of got a little bit attached to his channel a little bit is number one, he's just an ordinary dude, like turning on his phone and recording a video and then turning his phone off. And I was telling Matt, I was like, we've been trying to do stuff on the internet for a really long time. We've tried podcasting, we've tried video game streaming, and I think we're trying too hard because it seems like the people that I've discovered on YouTube don't care what they look like. They don't care where they're recording their videos, and they don't care to really put much editing time or any flashy, edits to their videos because they're just recording, and people seem to like the originality, and I do. I kind of like it. So he's been, and this is another thing that kind of sucked me in, is he's only been a YouTuber for like a year. He started I want to say his first video was last May, and 2019, and he's up to like almost 2,000 subscribers. So, and all he's doing is kind of showing people how he goes around and grabs things and resells them, throws them on eBay. And in the early beginnings of his videos, he hits on some stuff and he misses on some stuff, but he's got a little bit of knowledge about a little bit of everything, and it's kind of cool to kind of see him evolve along as he goes. He's got he's got 2 kids. He's got just a baby that was born last year, and on a couple of his videos, he gets up early in the morning on a Saturday and then goes to a soccer game after he's done. So he's like doing a full day of garage selling. But I mean, it's another one of those when you watch it, like he's in Southern California, and there was literally, I think he said like 50 garage sales within his area, within like a 2-mile radius of him. So he's got a lot of stuff to choose from, but it's fun to watch.
So he'll pick up pretty much anything?
Yeah, he kind of shoots for electronics games. He knows his games. He knows his electronics a little bit. He kind of looks for those items that are still new in box. Like he'll pick up tools, and people will set stuff out that they never really used. And at yard sales and garage sales, he can't pick stuff up and scan it right on there. So he does kind of miss on a couple of things. I think he picked up, he a little overpaid for a couple of items that he wished he hadn't paid for, but that's just part of it. That's how you educate yourself. You gotta check out how much stuff is worth. But I've watched about 10 of his earlier episodes, and I'm trying to kind of backtrack to go through them all. And Tendo put out an episode every day. I don't think he's more of a bi-weekly, like a couple of episodes a week. But it was just something new that I ran across, and I thought I'd spread the word about it. But it's Hunting with Tripler. That's Tripler, and he's just an awesome dude. He deserves a subscribe if you want to watch that kind of thing. Because one of the main things I'm trying to do is I flipped a couple of things at my local Goodwill. I picked up some DVDs and some box sets of things that I can get at the Goodwill for $2, and I threw them on eBay and got $20 out of a $2 purchase, which is a pretty good investment. And I'm like, got a little nest egg going, and I've been able to kind of indulge myself on some pickups that you might see later in this episode. But I'm kind of getting addicted to that a little bit. I'm kind of like, if it goes into my PayPal, the wife doesn't have to worry about it hitting the bank account. And I can
well, she knows about it now that she's listening to this.
Well, sorry, but it didn't come out of the bank account. So this was, and I've told her I've been selling some things on there. I sold I had a pair of Doc Martin boots that I had in college that I sold on eBay, and Matt's like, "You sold old boots on eBay?" Like, yeah,
dude. So some of those old Doc Martens, if they're the ones that were still made in England, those go for big money because like they move their. I watched a YouTube documentary on it. Yeah. They moved their facility to like Taiwan or somewhere,
Yeah, the England, mine were England ones.
Oh, geez. So those are probably big money. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I love to check out little channels like that, and I get into some weird stuff, man. I mean, not like weird, but like stuff
That's
that
not on
just I'm not
YouTube. I think that's on something else.
stuff that I'm not into, like restoring old muscle cars. Like
Yeah.
I'm not into that, but I found a channel, and like I subscribe to it. And anytime it pops up, he's got like little 15-minute videos where he finds like an old Corvette in a barn, and then like pulls it out and tries to restore it. And sometimes he restores it, sometimes he just flips it. It's just funny how you kind of get,
Right.
and the personalities. They got to have a good personality.
Yeah.
That kind of is the key.
One of the things that kind of gets me is like you kind of learn the different regions of how people are selling things and kind of what to look for and not to get ripped off, because we message each other all the time about Facebook Marketplace prices and just laugh at what people think they have in a lot of things.
Oh
But
yeah,
like he's in Southern California, and I kind of just made a mental note to myself. It's like average games are $2. I mean, literally. I mean, games and game systems like an Xbox 360 at a yard sale in California is still like a $20, $30 purchase if it's in great shape. It's not.
yeah,
It's not like what people think that they have, because you really have to be
right.
careful. And that's what I was telling. I sent Matt that Tusken Raider. I sent him a message about people complaining about the prices on Tusken Raider figures after this Mandalorian episode have went through the roof. They're like, don't overpay for figures that aren't worth this. People want to
Oh
build like
geez.
their little Tusken Raider army, I guess now, after seeing that. And the prices for Tusken Raiders went through the roof. Like
Oh
people were
geez.
selling them for like $80 a pop or something.
What?
Yes, the Black Series ones, the real nice ones, but still don't overpay for
That
your
makes me
stuff.
think of like I watched we talked about like comic book like key issues, and that's I watched some YouTubers that talk about how I grabbed this book because this thing is supposedly going to happen in the movies one day, and this character showed up, and so I grabbed it because it might get some heat on it. But it might, but just for a little while. And if unless
Yeah.
it's just something absolutely major, it's probably gonna, go up and then come back down again. So it's kind of like stocks. If you're gonna get that stuff, get it cheap, wait till it goes up, sell it, or else otherwise it's gonna go back down. So it's, it gets hot, but it doesn't stay that way. Especially not like it's not anymore.
All right. So collect
Preach.
stuff. Yeah, collect what you're into. I mean, if you
Yeah.
collect what you're into and you have it around, then you'll enjoy it. Not for the money aspect of it. So
Yeah, we're not gonna get rich collecting this stuff. That's for sure.
No,
no.
that's
I
what
like
I was watching.
ahead, Matt.
So kind of a twofer. You were talking about YouTube channels who don't have a lot of production or whatever. That to me doesn't matter. Like if it's I just like to watch. I just like to
Yeah.
hear people talk about stuff that I talk about. So especially like with comic books, like I don't know anybody personally
Right.
that is into them. So I have to go
But
to
like,
YouTube to watch this
and
stuff.
exactly, and like just like getting live on the podcast tonight, like we're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitch, we're live on Facebook. I just look around, make sure there's nothing in the background, make sure my hat's straight.
Yeah, right.
I've not got anything on my shirt. I don't know. I just have to do that. And like, dude, I don't.
But
Maybe I just look like a big fat slob naturally, so I have to help. I'm not naturally good looking, so I have to help myself out.
But like well, just real quick before we got on here, I was watching a YouTube channel that I found a couple weeks back that I really like called Comics with Bueller. And the video that I was watching, he streamed it this morning, and it was literally him sitting in front of a camera for 2 hours talking to his community about comic books, and that was it. There was nothing, no segments, no flashy anything, no intros or anything. He just started and said, "Hey guys, it's early in the morning, but let's talk about comics." And I only got through like half hour of it. But then in that same video, to your other point, he one of the questions was, "What's the best way to go about collecting key issues for my collection?" And he said, "Man, don't pay too much for that stuff." He said, "And if it's something that you wouldn't have bought anyway, like normally, if it's a character you don't like or a book you wouldn't have bought, don't buy it. Don't buy it just because it's a key.
Yeah.
Only get the stuff that you like. Don't worry about this other stuff. So
Yeah.
I thought I liked hearing that kind of stuff, because watching this kind of stuff
Yeah.
sometimes makes me think, oh man, maybe I should be looking out for some of this stuff. No, just get what you like. Don't worry about
I
this
saw
other stuff.
I saw a funny meme the other day about it was on a gun page talking about these guns, and like, a lot of people like to buy a lot of stuff. So just imagine, like, it's a gun page, guys collect guns, and the meme was, I'm so worried that if something happens to me, my wife will sell my gun collection for what I told her I paid for them. So a fraction
Yeah.
of what probably the actual value is, or what
Right.
they really paid for it. But well, cool. All right, well, let's move on. Matt, we got a comic book that you wanted to talk about this week.
Yeah, Matt's comic corner, I guess.
Matt's Comic Corner. It's
So
getting crazy.
I like to talk to you guys about comic books. I'm always trying to convert people to be comic book readers, and I like to talk about the ones that, like I said, superheroes turn a lot of people off, superpower stuff, but there's so many things out there that don't have anything to do with that. So I read one on Saturday, which was Halloween. So we're recording this on November 2nd, so happy Halloween. Happy belated Halloween. This one was called Something is Killing the Children. And it was the first. I only read the first issue. I think it's up to 11 issues now, so I'm behind. I only just got the first issue on a whim, and it's written by James Tynion, or maybe it's Tynion. I'm not real sure how to pronounce it, but the same guy who wrote. Remember a couple weeks ago I talked about the Department of Truth, the comic about the conspiracy theories being real. Same writer. This one is actually published by Boom Studios, not Image, but basically. Not a whole lot happens in this issue, but the main point of the story is that in this town called Archer's Peak, there is something that's killing the children. There's some kind of strange monster in the woods that's killing children, and there's a shot where this girl gets off of a bus, and there's a huge billboard with all these missing kids, and I actually got from this first issue anyway. I mean, it might evolve into something else later, but from this first issue, I got a very Stranger Things vibe from it. So it takes place present day. It's not 80s like Stranger Things, but it starts off with like a group of kids and they're playing Truth or Dare, and this kid talks about this dream that he had about this big monster, and they don't believe him, and he said, "Oh yeah, well that happened to me out in the woods or something." They said nothing ever happens out in those woods, and he's like, "You want to bet?" They're at a sleepover, and he says, "You want to bet?" The very next page is the kid sitting in a police station saying, "I don't know what." He's got blood all over him. "I don't know what happened.
No.
I made it all up. It wasn't supposed to be real." And basically, this isn't a spoiler because this is just the story of the first issue. Like all of his friends were killed. And kids at school blame him for it because he was the only survivor. There's also another character whose name we don't learn in the first issue. I read it, but I forgot it. She's basically a monster hunter, and she shows up into town because she's going to kill this monster. And the surviving kid meets her, and they kind of meet. And like I said, not a whole lot happens. There is a flashback to what happens that I won't mention anything about because it's better if you don't know what's coming when you turn the page. But it's just it's really interesting. It's really creepy. It's just another one of those comics that are just about some other kind of story, and it was great to read on Halloween. Like I wish I had bought the whole first volume and just read that all the way through. It was a wonderful Halloween read. So if you're interested in
awesome.
something kind of sort of Stranger Things-esque, a little bit creepy monsters. If you're not squeamish, check out Something is Killing the Children. I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. I'm definitely gonna read it.
So like, if I wanted to read this, how would I? Since I have known nothing about comics, how would I find this?
I bought it digitally on Comixology, so I've got it on my iPad.
So you just go. There's a webpage called Comixology, and it's kind of like a Netflix or like a Amazon for comics.
Well, you have to. Comixology has a subscription service called Comixology Unlimited, and I subscribe to that for like $6 a month. They have thousands of books that you can just read right on the spot, but they have even more that you can't, and you have to buy them. So I just bought this for like $3 and something. If you subscribe to that, you get like 15% off of regular price books. I paid like $3 and something for it, just for issue number 1, and I just read it on my iPad.
Since comics are so visual, I guess like the audio comic hasn't really taken off, right? Like You know, like how they'll read like the audiobooks. You can get like an audiobook version of Game of
Um,
Thrones.
yeah, there are audio comics, but not really. Like nothing, not like
Yeah,
there's audio books. You know.
sure. Okay. Well, cool. Something is killing the children. That sounds like something that would be a good time to read,
Oh,
during the holiday
it was
season.
really it was, and I think maybe the fact that I read it on Halloween maybe even
Yeah.
amplified it a little bit more because it was really creepy. Yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yo,
All right. We got some pickups to talk about. If you guys don't know or you're new to the show, we usually kind of reserve a little bit of time towards the end to talk about anything that we've picked up during the week that we're interested in. Could be video games, could be music CDs, books, pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to have something to show tonight, and I ordered it, and it was supposed to come, but it looks like it's going to be till next week. So we'll have to push mine off till next week. But who wants to go first?
I'll go first because Opie has built his up so much throughout the
I,
whole week that I don't think I can follow it.
I
Uh
just
oh.
said a couple of things. I'm just,
No, I want to wait. So my pickups are gonna it's gonna look like I have a ton because two of them I actually forgot to mention last week. So that should have been from last week. And then I actually got three things in today that I would have mentioned next week. So because we're recording a day later, it's going to look like I have a ton, but next week it will be almost none. So the two things I should have mentioned last week, there was a couple games on real cheap sale on Amazon. So I got Just Cause 4 for Xbox One. I played Just Cause 3
Nice.
all the way through. And
That's a great series.
yeah, and then Metal Gear Survive, which everyone hates, and I actually kind of like it. I have it on PC, but it was like $4 on Xbox. I thought, you never
I
know,
remember
maybe one
you
day.
and Level Cap TV Dan playing the beta to that.
Yeah, I liked it okay, and for $4, I thought, hey, I'd like to have a bigger Xbox game collection. So
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe I'll
so
play those on the new systems.
yeah, so Just Cause 4, just because I've been having fun with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, another big open world, you can go blow stuff up. I just grabbed that. All right, so super quick, I was going to talk about this new G.I. Joe series that I found, a comic book series that I found, started last year. I didn't know anything about it, and it's a little bit different take on G.I. Joe where Cobra has infiltrated America, basically, like almost like taken over America, right? And G.I. Joe is like this covert operation, not of soldiers, but this covert group that actually recruits civilians with different skill sets to work for them and to be spies and that kind of stuff. And I read like the first 3 or 4 issues of this new G.I. Joe series with this new premise. And I was like, man, that's really cool. G.I. Joe isn't like this fighting force. They're actually like a secret group and they have to like recruit people to help them. I was like, you know what? And we talked about it in our Discord. I was like, you know what? That sounds like a lot like Watch Dogs Legion, the new Watch Dogs Legion. So I went and got Watch Dogs Legion for the Xbox. We had talked about it in Discord, and I said, I think I'm going to wait because Spider-Man Miles Morales comes out in a couple weeks. I'm not going to have time to play this before that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it anyway because it was on sale for like $10 off. So Watch Dogs Legion. That's pretty cool. I got a couple more McFarlane toys. I got the Joker and the Flash.
Yes.
Which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't get the Flash Red Death 2-pack just because I don't know. I just wanted the Flash. So I just thought those guys looked cool. And then today,
Have you got the Joker in the prison outfit?
you mean where he looks like he's the prison guard?
Yes.
Yes. That's from Curse of the White Knight.
Of course he does. Opie, come on.
And then today I got
Why would you come with such a silly question?
Deathstroke. He came today. I like him. I don't like the Batman. This is from Arkham Origins, the game. I don't like the Batman from this line though because his head looks weird. So I just decided to go with Deathstroke. So he came today. Watch Dogs Legion came today, and then also today, was Mysterio from the Spider-Man Retro
Ooh.
Marvel Legends, and the box is really good. It's not been up or anything because it came in a box itself, and the figure looks real good.
Nice.
Is Jake Gyllenhaal's dreamy head underneath it?
No, he's too busy filming car crashes in Nightcrawler, in the movie Nightcrawler. So last Friday, I went to my local comic book store, which I hadn't been to in a couple years, because the last time I was there, it was kind of small. They had comic books, but they were mostly games, like board games and card collecting games, that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't really want a lot of that stuff. But I decided to go again to check it out, and they have grown. They have doubled in size since the last time I've been there.
I got an all caps text with certain profanity laced tirated words about how big the comic book store had grown.
About how awesome it was.
He's so excited.
So I just wanted to get something. I was like, I don't know, I don't really collect physical comics anymore, but I just want to get something. Because I love being here. I could have stayed in there all day, but my son was with me and he was getting like hungry and stuff for dinner. So I picked up, so comics today have, a lot of them have variant covers. There are, some comics, lately that have been, so Alex Ross is like one of the best artist painters in the world that does comics. He's released a series of variant covers called Timeless covers. And they are, I only got 4. But there's a series of 32 different covers that look like this. It's just all white with a nice painting of a character. So I got Spider-Man, I got Daredevil, I got Cyclops, and Black Panther. And so, I mean, these are, this is, an issue of Black Panther. This Cyclops is an issue of X-Men, an issue of Daredevil, an issue of Spider-Man. And they're just regular retail price, so they don't cost any more. But I'd seen these before and thought that I missed my chance to get them, and they had a bunch of them. So I was like, well, I can't really get them all, but I'd like to get these ones. So I'm going to maybe go back and collect more of the Timeless variant covers with more characters. I thought those were pretty cool. And then last but not least, I got another omnibus. I got the War of the Realms omnibus. I haven't read any of the comics that even lead up to this event yet.
Oh, no.
But I will. I'm going to catch up. And this is actually, I think this is like 1,000 pages. I think this is one of the largest ones that Marvel has put out. It's big and it's heavy and it's awesome looking. So I decided, I pre-ordered that a while back and it came in the other day. So
Treat yourself.
The omnibus collection is growing.
That's good, man.
Yeah, and that's it. So it seems like a lot, but there won't be as much next week because some of it should have been next week. So. But that's it.
Hey, that's a pretty hard act to follow.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, I got a few things. I don't know how I want to go in order here. So let's go by theme, I guess, maybe. So at the local Goodwill, not only do I look for games and DVDs and stuff, but I look at the books. I'm hopefully, now that I know what an omnibus is, I'm hoping one day I'll come across like hardback books at the Goodwill are $2.
Ooh.
And paperbacks are $1, and they don't know the difference in books or whatever. Because I found trade paperbacks and stuff there too. But if I ever come across an omnibus for Matt for $2, I'll look all the time now. But I picked up a couple of Star Wars paperbacks. One of them is a Timothy Zahn one. Now, this is not part of the Zahn trilogy. Actually, This book, I looked it up. This actual story was mentioned in one of the Zahn trilogy books, but it's about just a flight, and it's about a flight that happens, just its own single story, and then this one is a small story about Qui-Gon Jinn protecting the Chancellor within episode 1, I guess. It's just kind of a fan fiction kind of spinoff of what happens within that movie. So I always try to pick up these. I'm not a big collector. I don't have a lot of Star Wars novels, but they look good on the shelf, and hopefully maybe one day.
Yeah, they do.
When the zombies take over and we don't have the internet anymore. I hope
right. Man, every
So
time I
think
think about the Thrawn trilogy, I think about the sequel trilogy and how there was so much good source material for them to pull from, and instead we got the sequels that we got instead of the awesome
so
Thrawn trilogy.
staying with the Star Wars theme, but moving to action figures at my local Walmart. I guess they were kind of ramping up to the Mandalorian, and I was able to pick up our guy right there on the.
Holy crap! You got the Mandalorian in
Is
like
it?
the classic card.
Yep, this is the vintage line card. It's a real hard card. It's all reflecty and shiny, but this is his original armor. This is
Yeah,
not his armor that he gets later.
that's what my
So,
Black Series figure is too. Is
yeah,
the his starting armor? Yeah,
yeah. So
that is
He hadn't
awesome.
upgraded yet.
Yeah, right.
right.
Oh, that's
That is cool.
awesome. You can stick that in the box you're gonna mail me.
That rifle's huge too.
Yeah, like I don't know. Do they even make a figure that's in his Beskar armor?
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know.
I think so. But they had in the same display some of the 12-inch ones, the one like you've got, the Black Series ones. But they didn't have him. But I like this one better. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if I'm going to keep you on the card, but it is the vintage style layout
That's
here.
nice.
I would keep
Okay.
that one on the card because it looks so good.
Yeah, it is. It's a really, really nice card. Here's what the back looks like as well.
That's
So,
awesome.
okay. Okay, let's move on to let's see. To next.
He's got so much he doesn't even know. He's short
We're going back
circuiting
to
trying to
Bill.
process.
This is my VHS segment of the night, and this is
I love
my
it.
favorite.
I love that you collect VHSs so that I don't have to. I love it.
4, 5, 6. So I picked up 7 VHS tapes, and I was really
Dang.
happy about it. The first one I think I picked up a couple of weeks ago, and I just didn't show it. But it's a Metallica VHS tape. It's called Cliff 'Em All, and it's apparently a collection of their bass player that died, Cliff. Shoot, I
Yep,
can't
Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton. Right. It's a collection of his performances, solos, and things when he was on tour.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. Saw it at the Goodwill. I'm like, how can? It's
Yeah.
really not worth anything, but it's good to have. It's something unique I've never seen
It
before.
doesn't.
And
Yeah, there you go. See, it doesn't need to be worth anything.
I
You
really,
know.
I really like it.
Yeah.
There. So here's a good movie you all will recognize. But I got Space Camp.
Oh my gosh. I
Love
love
it.
Space Camp.
That
Oh my
movie.
gosh.
It's a pretty good movie.
I always wanted one of those little robots. I can't remember his name. The ball, you know, the whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And one of my all-time favorite cult movies of all time, Matt's favorite actor and mine. It's Better Off Dead.
Oh my
with
gosh.
Oh,
John
nice.
Cusack. I love this movie. I love this movie growing up. I think it's one of the most hilarious. It's so hilarious. I love it. Love this movie, and I was really stoked to find it.
I've never
It's
seen
really
that.
awesome. You've never seen Better Off Dead?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it's so good.
You should
It's
see
so
it. It's good. I loved those. Like all those like One Crazy Summer. It was like one of my favorite movies growing up. Have you ever seen that, Matt?
Uh-uh.
It's got like Bobcat Goldthwait in it. Like it's just like crazy. It's like a Police Academy type movie,
Yeah.
you know, just over the top.
I'm just going to show you all these together, Matt. It finally happened. I came across the DBZ
Oh.
load of some
Oh, nice.
figures here. But yeah, this is a Boo Saga stuff.
They're not consecutive though, right? Because the pictures on the side don't.
And the thing about this is they don't number these VHSs, so I don't know really for sure.
Dang, he's ripped.
Yeah, this is at the end. This is one of the main dudes at the end of the Dragon Ball Z original series, but they got some damage on the bottom or whatever. But I kept going back, hopefully that hopefully they would put more out, and I would have a chance to grab some more. But anyway,
Did you ever end up playing that cassette tape that or that VHS tape that you found inside like whatever it was, like Ghostbusters or something?
the graduation, yes, I did. I haven't played it all the way through, but I did put it in to make sure it worked. And it was a graduation at the beginning, but I kind of thought to myself, I was like, I wonder if I could analyze this tape, figure out what high school this is and about around what time, and maybe hunt down whoever's tape it was and return it to
Dude, that would be an awesome story if you could do that.
them.
It would be.
So I also picked up a PSP game a
Uh-oh.
couple of weeks back. It's nothing special. It's one of these brain teaser games.
Okay.
But it's PSP, so
There you go.
want to pick it up.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. But anyway, it's not. I've never heard of it before. It's not really worth anything, but it's a brain teaser. But anyway, so moving on. Now, so these are new, and these I don't understand. When I said the pickup gods were smiling on me, like I have the smallest, most rinky-dink Walmart, but for some reason I've had a really good run of luck with getting in there when they put stuff out or whatever. And going back to how in previous episodes my last couple of pickups had been Mega Block stuff. Well, I got another Mega Block pickup here, and these are new. These is a twin pack of minifigures. And this is Predator, and you get Dutch, and this is active. It's not active camo. It's heat. It's the heat.
What? I've never even seen those.
Dutch.
As if you were looking through like the thermal scan.
Yeah.
Predator. So, yeah, that was cool. They make this one. They've got a Halo one, and they have, of course, a Masters of the Universe one.
Nice.
But I think this He-Man, of course, these are going to be duplicates for most people because this is probably my 4th or 5th He-Man I'm going to have. But I don't think I have one with the bracelets that are yellow. So I'm not really sure.
Oh, good point.
These are at stores now, too. There's
we call
this
those bracers. It's a little bit more manly.
There's this one, there's the Predator one, and then there's a Halo one. There's Master Chief versus one of the bosses, too, but I didn't pick that one up. Anyway. So let's keep right on in line with the Master Chief. And Origins. I got Evil and Tila.
Oh, nice.
So
a little female representation in your He-Man line.
Not only after finding Evil Lynn and Tila, I went back a couple of days and they're putting these back out. I got Man at Arms and
nice. Mustachioed Man at Arms. It always bugged me as a kid that he didn't have it. I mean, I understand why, but it still bugged me. Damn. Oh, this guy with Prince Adam. So you've got the whole set now that are out.
The whole first wave now.
Ah, oh, dude, that's awesome.
Prince Adam and the Sky Sled, and I had to get them. They were there. I couldn't get it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
what's
obviously.
What's that little sticker say on there? Retro something?
Retro play.
Modern posing retro play.
Oh, nice.
I feel so good because, I thought the Origin figures, and I'm starting to see this, and if you want to get the Origin figures, I think they're going to be available. I don't think you're going to have to, if you do a little extra looking, if I can find them at my Walmart, if you, you'll be able to find them at yours. And like of all the videos I've watched, and I recently linked Matt one for one of my other favorite YouTube channel, Retro Blasting. He does a full review of the Origin figures, and he's real critical on toys, especially toy companies that try to bring vintage stuff back out just to kind of milk the adult collector. But he was really happy with these, and it looks like Mattel, since gaining the license back from Super 7, are going to try to push these a little bit more. So I'm going to say that they're going to be, Wave 2 is already been up for pre-order and sold out. So, the pre-orders and the early waves are going to go pretty quick. You're going to have your scalpers who are going to snatch up and resell. But I think if you wait, like I've seen them start to restock this first wave a little bit more. So, I thought the Sky Sled was awesome, Prince Adam. So I feel really good about it because I felt like the first couple of reboots of Masters of the Universe I kind of missed out on. I just didn't want to pull the trigger, or couldn't pull the trigger on some of the ones. I know Matt's got a couple of the modern line, and then they kind of reissued the vintage ones in the early 2000s. But I'm really happy now. So now I can kind of focus my little nest egg so I can get ready for the second wave. And I've got everything as far as the except for Castle Grayskull. I've got everything for the retro or for the Mega Bloks line too as well. So I'm swimming in Masters of the Universe.
That's
I love it.
awesome.
That is awesome, man.
That's it. I'm good. I'm done.
That was an epic. That may have been
Gosh,
the best one yet.
I told you.
I'm exhausted.
You guys
That
don't
was
understand.
intense.
I need a cigarette
Yeah.
and just to, to cuddle for a little bit, afterwards.
It still bugs me that I used to pay around $6 for a figure like this, and now it's 12.
Right.
So that figure was $12, and that bugs me because $12 should be.
Dude, the McFarlane's $20 a pop. I mean, yeah, it is what it is nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm getting milked.
So yeah. So
Well, cool.
I'm good, guys.
you guys understand? It's been all week. It's like I wanted to talk pickups. I want to show you guys my pickups. We can't. Me and Opie used to text each other pictures all the time of all the cool stuff, and now we don't because we got. We don't want to ruin the surprise for this podcast. So it's hard. We have to wait like a whole week sometimes before we get to see. So I feel relief now.
Yeah, but these Mega Block things are just random. Like they love doing the little movies, and you never know what.
You never know what you're gonna find. Yeah.
But that Predator, the Dutch is what did it. If it was just like a regular soldier or something, but that is the coolest idea. Like his gun is like a see-through green plastic. That's
awesome.
On that, it's so funny. But anyway,
nice,
sweet. All right, well that wraps up the pickups. You guys got anything else before we wrap up episode 13? This is tomorrow's a big day for our nation. Get out and vote. No matter who you vote for, make sure you get out and vote. And next week, hopefully we know how that turned out for our next show.
Yeah, please go in person. It's way too late for your mail-in ballots now. You can drop off your ballots if you have one, but please don't rely on the mail now because it's too late. So just drop it off in person or go vote in person. There's several states where if you aren't registered, several states will let you register and vote in the same day. So
yeah,
there's a lot of voting websites that will do that.
Diana or my wife and I both, our driver's license address doesn't match where we currently live, so we called and we have to take like a utility bill or something.
Yeah.
So double check, make sure before you go that you got everything lined up like that, so that you don't get there, wait in line, and then have to go back home and do it again. Because we're old school, we go vote day of.
And don't let long lines deter you either. Even if it's going to be several hour wait or whatever, tough it out if you can. Unless you got to be somewhere, pick up kids, whatever. Stick it out, man. Because this one is probably the most important, possibly of our lifetime. Well, depending on how old you are, but of our lifetime.
Civil duty.
Yeah. So please do that.
Awesome. All right. Well,
and wear a mask.
Else you guys...
Don't forget to wear a mask. That's it.
Wear a mask. Anything else before we get out of here, guys?
That's it.
Hit us up on the social medias.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and Matt made us this cool overlay. If you're watching us on Facebook Live or probably on YouTube, right? It's Matt made us this cool little overlay, so we got that going on for us.
And I'm thinking about making an individual video on my pickup. So if it didn't come across on audio like it normally never does, we're kind of showing each other the stuff live, and sometimes maybe the average listener can't really get a lot of detail about what our pickups are. We'll try to post all that on social media as well, as you can go back and watch the video on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook as well.
Yeah, and for all of our social medias, just go to we have a link tree, so linktr.ee linktree / anything new podcast, and that'll give you everything.
Everything.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me double check that.
Hold on, let me double check that.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I told you wrong. I'm glad I checked it. It's linktree / anything new. We got the links to
anything new.
Yeah, the links to the podcast on iTunes, the podcast on Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, our Discord. Probably need to put the Twitch and the Facebooks on there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and one more thing. We got Mark, a fan of the show, who loves Mandalorian, and he had been messaging me pictures of a Mandalorian helmet that he's 3D printing.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so I'll have those pictures for next week. So a little teaser. We love getting little things like that sent in to us, and Mark listens to the show, and we're going to make sure that he gets a little shout out next week on all his hard work, because he says he has about 100 hours on the
What?
3D printer just for one helmet.
That's crazy. That's
So-
dedication that I can't wait to see.
Yeah,
Yep.
little teasers. So we'll catch you guys next week for episode 14.
14. That's it. See you guys.
Yeah.